If the Trump team thought that things were going to get easier as more time passed, they seem to have severely misjudged the environment, which I suppose is on brand for a group of people who discussed war plans with a journalist watching on an unsecured commercial app. Today, The Atlantic's Jeffrey Goldberg released even more information that directly contradicts the bullshit stories that Trump's cabinet members have been peddling over the last few days. For example, there was this claim by Pete Hegseth.
As I also stated yesterday, nobody's texting war plans. And that's all I have to say about that.
So those same troops that you are proud of, do you regret putting information like the ones you did in the Signal chat that could endanger those same American service members?
Nobody's texting war plans. I know exactly what I'm doing, exactly what we're directing, and I'm really proud of what we accomplished.
Nobody's texting war plans, he said. Only small problem. Here are the war plans as texted by Pete Hegseth, the guy who just stated unequivocally that nobody is texting war plans. And look, admittedly, I'm not a national security expert, but 12:15 Eastern, F-18's launch first strike package. 13:45, trigger-based F-18 first strike window starts. Target terrorist is at his known location, so should be on time. Also, strike drones launch MQ-9s. 14:10, more F-18s launch, second strike package. 14:15, strike drones on target. This is when the first bombs will definitely drop pending earlier trigger-based targets. Yeah, kinda seems like war plans. Think about it like this. If a member of the Biden administration texted these exact words, then would Republicans consider these war plans? Take all the time you need with that one. Also, quick aside, but you gotta love how the very next text, after the war plans that Hegseth is now claiming aren't war plans, is the words, "We are currently clean on OPSEC." That means that they are clean on operational security, which he said in a chat with a journalist lurking on an unsecured app. Kind of goes without saying, but they weren't currently clean on OPSEC. But back to the Trump officials who spent the last week hanging themselves. Here's Mike Waltz.
I built the group my job is to make sure everything's coordinated.
But how did the number? I mean, I don't mean to be pedantic here, but how did the number? Have you
ever had somebody's contact that shows their name and then you have somebody else's number there?
I never make those mistakes.
Right? You got somebody else's number on someone else's contact. So of course I didn't see this loser in the group. It looked like someone else. Now, whether he did it deliberately or it happened in some other technical mean is something we're trying to figure out.
That Jeffrey Goldberg somehow found his way into the chat. It must have been a hack, maybe the deep state, maybe foreign actors, but we've got to get to the bottom of this. Except, oh wait, would you look at that? A screenshot from Jeffrey Goldberg showing that it was Mike Waltz himself who quite literally added Goldberg to the chat. So, in terms of Goldberg somehow being added, I think we found the culprit. But here's what I find interesting. Jeffrey Goldberg simply allowed the Trump administration to bury itself, knowing full well that these people are incapable of owning up to a single mistake they make. They are all so focused on protecting their fragile egos that they can't get out of their own way. And Goldberg knew that. He knew that all he had to do was give them enough rope so that they could eventually hang themselves, and they would. And so they conjured up all of these batshit crazy excuses, like trying to whip up a conspiracy theory that we don't know how Jeffrey Goldberg got into the chat, but we're going to investigate it to the ends of the earth. And then once they went out on a limb, they dropped the proof. So if they didn't look like absolute fools before, they sure do now. And the irony is that the only reason this is as bad as it is because they don't know how to just take the L. They do not know how to admit defeat. Even Tommy Lahren tweeted, regarding this whole Signal debacle, the administration really just needs to come out and explicitly say they effed up. The word gymnastics is making it worse. To that point, I'm going to read an excerpt from my newsletter today about this topic, in which I also included Tommy's tweet and then wrote, but they can't come out and explicitly say they effed up because the Trump mantra is to never say you effed up. And so instead, they will keep presenting more excuses on which they'll double, triple, and quadruple down, effectively ensuring that this story remains in the zeitgeist. Rather than deal with the fleeting discomfort of one bad news cycle, they are ensuring the perpetual discomfort of endless bad news cycles owed entirely to their relentless focus on ego. And by the way, if you'd like to sign up for my newsletter, I'll put the link right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. It is free, but there's also a paid option if you'd like to support my work. But what's becoming abundantly clear is this. We've all been around for the better part of a decade. We have watched Republican officials predicate their entire political identities on attacking people like Hillary Clinton for using a personal email server, even though the information that she was sending was unclassified. But I'm not here to run cover for Hillary Clinton. If she was reckless, then that is wrong. But the fact that Republicans are physically incapable of just saying that and are instead trafficking in straight fiction and conspiracy theories goes to show that it was never about the substance of their attacks and always about being partisans. These people had no qualms with national security problems because here they are running apologia for something 10 times worse. They just use the occasion to bolster their brands. If you're sick of these hypocritical politicians who stand for nothing but their own ambition, then these Trump administration officials must be difficult to even look at. And that's a point that national security expert Ned Price explained in detail in our most recent interview.
They never had the best interests of our national security in mind as they were pursuing Secretary Clinton and other related matters. They were trying to score cheap political points. And I think the rank hypocrisy that we're seeing now is really telling of that. The fact that so many of the statements that we've heard from these individuals over the years could be transplanted onto this case and fit neatly and nicely. Really, I think Secretary Clinton put it best in a tweet of hers that I saw. I think she said something like, "You have got to be kidding me." And I can only imagine what she is thinking as she sees the very people that went after her for something that doesn't even compare to what we are seeing of this administration. So much of what I've heard from this universe over the past 10 years, it's just not on the level. It was political. It was not about national security. It was about burnishing their own credentials. And ultimately, I think this episode goes to show the one to suffer is our own national reputation and probably even our own national security in the end.
The reality is that this administration isn't concerned with upholding our national security, and it never was. The people serving in the Trump White House are there because they are perfectly content to undermine our democracy on Trump's behalf. For all of Trump's faults, he did manage to succeed at finding those morally bankrupt enough to do his bidding. We may all be collectively less safe as a result of that, but clearly that's a result that Trump is willing to have us take. Because after all, Trump's presidency isn't about us. His presidency is about him. Before you go, first, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we're now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they're willing to cater to this White House. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a great way for me to be able to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's completely free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support my work. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.